All right, folks, welcome to Premium Fuel Mag. Today we are going to be installing the drive shaft loop from Stiffler suspension onto my TKO transmission. We're going to put that inside the Drift Fox, the Fox body. So just a little bit of background information on this install that's going on right here. My transmission is out of the car just because we were doing some work to it, and before I put it back in the car, I just want to go ahead and get everything set up to go back in the car in one piece. Obviously, you're not going to need to take the transmission out of your car in order to get this done unless you want to. We're just going to be showing it to you outside of the car just because it's more convenient for me and it's easier for me to show you. So when you crack the box open, this is what you get right here. You get this mounting plate and then the actual drive shaft loop. This system is cool because you don't have to actually modify the body of your car. You can bolt this thing directly to the transmission. So you can see here, these little bolts here are, so you can see here, these holes here are actually meant to install directly above your transmission mount. So typically your transmission mount would go here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to sandwich this unit in between the transmission mount and the transmission. Now, in order to get this done, you've got these guys here, and you actually have to do some trimming because the way the webbing is on here, it's not going to allow you to pass that thing through. So Stifflers recommends that you actually chop these guys off on your transmission. I thought about doing it, and to be honest, guys, I don't really want to chop up my TKO. I don't think it's going to do anything harmful to it, and I'm usually pretty eager to cut things up. I'm going to do things a little bit differently. So let me show you what I do in just a second. All right, so basically all I did is just remove this little piece of webbing that was in here in the middle. I definitely don't recommend doing that if you want to keep everything factory. I hope the folks over at Stifflers don't mind, but I tend to cut things. So anyways, we're going to take the actual drive shaft loop, and as you can see, it's got 3 holes there and 2 holes there, so you can kind of adjust that thing up and down to fit the height of your transmission tunnel. And so we're going to go ahead and bolt that thing up, and then we're going to bolt it to the transmission. All right, here's what it looks like with everything bolted together. I've got everything loose, and I wanted to throw my drive shaft in there just to make sure that nothing was hitting anything. And as you can see, the drive shaft loop clears the whole U-joint assembly pretty well. So from here, we're going to go ahead and get ready to throw everything inside the car. I also wanted to mention that Stifflers provides replacement hardware. Since you're adding space to here, you're going to need longer bolts for your transmission mount, so they provide longer bolts for you. Alright guys, my transmission's back in the car, and I wanted to show you guys a little sandwich that I've got going on here. So the first layer is, of course, the transmission, which I'll just point at. The next layer is going to be your drive shaft loop. The next thing down is, because I'm running the Cobra setup, I have an exhaust bracket here. I'm not sure what your Mustang is going to look like. The next thing down after the exhaust bracket is going to be your transmission mount. Then I have a shim, and then topped everything off with the nice Stifflers transmission cross member. So my combination of layers and stuff is probably going to be different than yours. Luckily, Stifflers, with all of these kits, they provide different bolts that you can basically switch and swap depending on the length. They've got bolts, spacers, washers, everything. So just make sure that your transmission and your pinion angle remain the same as what they were. When you do this DIY, you're actually not going to have to remove your drive shaft. I did, just because as you saw earlier, everything was out. But since we've got these bolts here and you can actually take the loop off, all you have to do is modify your transmission if that's what you choose to do. I chose to cut the bracket. You bolt that on there, and then you can feed your loop up and over the drive shaft and get that all bolted together. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm really excited to be running the full Stiffler setup underneath my car. One of these days we have to get my car up in the air so that you guys can see the Stiffler subframe bracing, because I think that's really cool. So that's going to be pretty much it. We'll catch you guys on the next one.